approved. This brings us to item 7, which is the committee reports. Up first is Finance, Facilities, and Transportation.
Finance, Facilities, and Transportation Committee met on Tuesday, March 7th at 5:30. In attendance was Greg Holman, Bill Lorenz, Greg Mock, Dr. McDowell, and Ms. Kirshner. The committee was updated on how much we paid for snow removal this year. It was more than last year as we had more snowfall. The committee was updated on the window optics project. There were leftover materials that we will receive a credit for. There was also white caulking and sun film that we kept for future use. The committee received a vehicle update on the new truck and van that was ordered. It was discussed that the elementary is in need of a new intercom system. We are currently working on getting bids for that project. The committee discussed the practice fields by the high school. Dr. McDowell is following up on some bids that we received to hopefully lower the cost. Dr. McDowell provided a negotiations update to the committee. The negotiations agreement is on the board agenda for the March meeting. The committee reviewed the claims. The next meeting is April 13th at 5:30.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg. Next up is American Civics, Teaching and Learning.
Okay, Teaching and Learning Committee met Friday, March 10th at 8 a.m. Members present included Mr. Kuntz, Dr. Kozacek, and Dr. McDowell. Mrs. Harefield joined the beginning of the meeting to provide an academy update. Mrs. Harefield shared that a student ambassador team was formed. This team comprised of 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade students who have been working hard on creating a branding and marketing plan. The team has landed on the design of academy logos, the profile of a graduate, and the continuum of experiences. The team has also created a brand promise. Mrs. Harefield reviewed the 3 academies and the pathways that will be offered. Marcy also reviewed the timeline of implementation. The Cardinal Freshman Exploration Academy will launch in the fall of 2023. The Cardinal Business and Human Sciences Academy and the Cardinal Technical Science Academy will launch in the fall of 2024. Finally, Ms. Harefield shared that the first 8th grade Move Up Academy Parent Night will take place on Tuesday, March 14th at the high school starting at 6 p.m. Dr. McDowell reviewed 3 resource adoptions with the committee. 6-8 English Language Arts, 6-8 Science, and K-5 Science were all reviewed. Dr. McDowell specifically shared the process for selection with the committee. The full board will hear presentations from teachers and building administrators for each adoption. The committee then worked through one final calendar adjustment. One day was added to winter break, bringing the end of the first semester to Thursday, December 21st, allowing winter break to begin on Friday, December 22nd. The final day for staff in the 2023 school year will be Friday, May 17th. Dr. McDowell reviewed the administrative structure of the Cardinal Welcome Center. Adjustments were made to better align talents and strengths with job responsibilities. No additional FTEs were added, and all changes made took place within the operating budget. The next meeting will be on Wednesday, April 5th at 4 p.m.
Thank you, Julie. Up next is item 7C, Personnel.
The Personnel Committee met on Monday, March 13th at 12 o'clock. In attendance were Julie Kozacek, Greg Mock, Greg Holman, Dr. McDowell, and Mrs. Beck. The committee was informed of the staff event set for May 12th. This event will be the end of the year staff celebration, retirement celebration, and years of service award recognition. The years of service award recognition in May will replace the beginning of the year awards typically handed out in August, so that the beginning of the year will allow focus on the new staff members. Dr. McDowell shared his plan to restructure the Cabinet's team's organizational chart, including who directors will report to. The committee asked if the restructure had been shared out. The restructure is not yet finalized, but will be shared out with staff once completed. Excuse me. The committee was informed of the middle school principal applicants. 11 total applications were received in the interviews that will take place later in the day. 3 applicants were selected to be interviewed, but 1 withdrew because they accepted a position in another district, so 2 will be interviewed today. Staff updates and posted positions were shared with the committee. The committee asked how the status of open staffing positions compared to previous years. Currently, the district is sitting around the same amount of positions to be filled compared to last year. Most resignations are typical, and some teachers are leaving the profession altogether. Teachers have until March 15th to sign their renewal notice, which indicates their intent to return for the next school year. If a teacher wants to resign after this date, the district will work to find a suitable replacement. The committee asked if the negotiations will be on the board meeting agenda for tonight. Negotiations will be both information and action at tonight's board meeting. To remain in the top half of the array, the total package increase will be 5.17%. February substitute data was reviewed with the committee. February leave total 671 was an increase in the amount of leaves compared to January at 575. The committee asked for some possible reasons for so many leaves in February. Excuse me. Possible reasons could be vacant positions, maternity leave, and illness. Sick leave and family sick leave combined total 228. The question of why so many leaves will be brought up with both the classified advisory group and the teacher leader group. Thursdays were the most popular day to take a personal or PTO leave, followed by Fridays. Lastly, the committee asked if the administrative pay packages have been determined. Dr. McDowell is working with Mrs. Kirchner to set up a salary schedule for administrators. With a similar structure as the teacher salary schedule. This is not yet completed, but will be shared with the committee when finished. The next personnel meeting will be Monday, April 3rd at 12 o'clock.
Thank you, Julie. And we don't have any policy minutes for this month, so we will move on to item 8, which is our information and discussion items. And item 8A is campus highlights, instructional programs.
Dr. Franz?
Good evening. I'm Melissa Franz, and I'm the coordinator of High Ability Learning and Instructional Technology. Tonight, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our program, but I'm going to let Savannah and Sandra tell you more. Currently, our High Ability program is serving 205 students. We have 24 students identified at the elementary, 43 at the intermediate, 65 at the middle school, and 73 at the high school.
My name is Sandra Vicente Reyes. I started going to Crete Public Schools in kindergarten. When I started school, I only spoke Spanish, and I was in the EL program. I graduated from the EL program in 3rd grade. I was identified as a high ability
Good evening. My name is Katie Bevins, and I'm your new Student Services Coordinator. Student Services includes 4 different programs that support the whole child. Our largest program is special education. We serve approximately 350 students with disabilities. Our staff include resource teachers, speech language pathologists, and related service providers. Sixpence is a grant-funded program. We provide family education through home visiting for at-risk children prenatally through age 3, and we have 3 family educators in that program. Our health services staff, our 4 school nurses, serve all of our students in varying capacities through screenings, health office visits, health plans, and emergency response. And then finally, we have our school-based mental health providers, our counselors, our psychologists, and our community partners, and those students are referred by parents and teachers. So tonight, I asked 2 families to share with you the support that their child receives. First, Ana Lopez is here with her daughter Cece, and they're going to talk with you about the special education services that Cece has received throughout her schooling here at Crete Public Schools. I also invited Brianna Ely. She's ill tonight, but Jesse Herman and Anna Lawrence are here to share some written input from Brianna about the health services that her son Parker has received here at Crete Public Schools. I forgot to mention that Jesse Mike is also here with Cece and her mother to share their experience.
Hello, my name is Ana Lopez, and my daughter name is Cecilia Blanco. She's 15 years old. Her diagnosis is called Dandy Walker, which prevents her from speaking, walking, and moving in all directions. Since she was 3 years old, she has received an education from Crete Public Schools. From the first day, I felt very safe to send my daughter to school. She receives therapy in everything that she needs. She has a salon adapted to her needs, and the teachers and school staff always treat her with equality and respect, always treating her to involve her in all the activities like any other students. She receives transportation from home to school every school day. At school, she receives her food ground, so she can enjoy it without any problem. Currently, she's in grade 9 in high school, and I'm very happy with all the attention and care of the teachers and all the assistants do every day for her. They tell me all the routine, they write it on a piece of paper, what she ate, what she did, what made her happy, what she didn't like, and that makes me feel even more calm knowing that my daughter is happy and safe at school. For me, as Ceci's mother, it fills my heart that she has the opportunity, like any other students at school, to be able to attend and to be able to feel so much love and care. I thank all the school in Crete for the excellent work they do every day, for including my daughter, and I know that other students learn respect for special children like Ceci. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jessie Herman, and I am the middle school nurse. I currently work with Parker. Since Brianna and Parker couldn't be here tonight, Brianna emailed me what she would like me to say to you about the services that Parker receives at school. She said, "My name is Brianna Ely, and I'm the mother of Parker Ely, who is a 6th grader at Crete Middle School. Parker was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in the summer of 2020, just a few weeks shy of the new school year. I reached out to Karen Williams, and she helped get the ball rolling on the school side of things. Now, in my mind, I was all over the place. Working in the medical field, I had a lot of what ifs, and when it comes to our own kid, it's a whole new ballpark. At the time, we had Nurse Anna, and she was such an amazing gift. She would call and update me with every blood sugar check. It also didn't help that I was calling her 3 times a day just to check in on him. Now, at that time, we did not have an insulin pump or a Dexcom. which is a continuous glucometer that allows him to see what his blood sugar is all the time. So Anna was a great advocate for Parker. She would call children's endocrinology when he was throwing up or having ketones, as this was one of the protocols. But numerous times when I couldn't get a hold of children's endocrinology myself, she would help in contacting with children's and send the documentation that they needed. I could not be thankful enough for Anna. In December of 2021, Parker's health took a turn for the worse. He was hospitalized 5 times within a 3-month period, 2 of which he was deemed in the pediatric ICU unit. The last half of the year for Parker, he only was able to attend a few weeks total, and that was if his blood sugars were permitted and he didn't have ketones. We fought for an insulin pump for months. Again, Anna was a huge advocate and kept tabs on sugars, and when he had ketones, she would send all of these numbers to children's as needed. Summertime came around, and Parker was able to get the pump, and things started to look up. Now, in my mind, I was thinking a new school, a new nurse. I was worried how things were going to go as we became so close with Nurse Anna and had built such a rapport with her. Nurse Jessie was there for Parker during summer school, so we were able to get acquainted, but the first full year of a new school and a new nurse is a little worrisome. But let me tell you, Nurse Jessie has been just as great as Anna. She keeps tabs of sugars and ketones and stays in constant contact with children's as needed. She messages me his morning and lunch numbers. She's always there when I have questions and some extra guidance. Parker's sugars have been great, and Parker really enjoys seeing Jessie when he can. Parker can be ornery at times and finds ways to sneak out of class and pay his favorite person a visit. He has missed very little school this year, and now we are working on handling lows, like low blood sugars, in the class when needed so that he is able to spend more time in class. Needless to say, these 2 nurses have been nothing but great to us. On the recent break from school, I asked Parker if he was ready to go back to school to see his friends. He replied, "Nope, I'm just excited to see Nurse Jessie again." Again, these 2 have made such a huge impact on our lives and made going back to work a breeze for me. So that's what Brianna wanted to share with you guys. Do you have any questions about anything?
Any questions for us about student services?
I don't think so. You guys, did I hear something? Thanks for telling us about everything that you do, and thanks for all of your work. I know there's a lot of people that depend on those services, so thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming and presenting tonight too. Okay, next up is item 8B, which is the K-5 Science Curriculum Resource Adoption.
Okay. The clicker.
All right. You can try the clicker. Is it this one? All right, we're just here to talk you through, our science resource recommendation for the intermediate and the elementary school. This has been a long process. We've had a team working on unpacking all of our science standards, looking at data kind of, and we piloted 2 different programs this year. There's the team up there that participated in all of this work.
Okay, so I'm Sonia West. I teach math and science 5th grade. So last fall, the teachers worked 4 full days looking at the grade level standards, unpacking them, looking at resources that we have available to us, learning how the science and engineering practices and cross-cutting concepts work together with the disciplinary core ideas and the importance of vertical alignment. So, and then taking a look at our data, we can see that for fifth grade MAPS data, there really hasn't been a lot of change for growth compared to math and ELA growth especially. That's had a consistent quality resource available for them. And then for NSCATs, the great news is that Crete is above the state for proficiency. However, we have very high expectations for ourselves and for our students, and so our goal would be to have 80 to 85% proficient for the NSCATs test, which I believe is achievable. So what does that data tell us? It tells us that our percentage of students proficient in math is stagnant. It's not, like we said, growing. The cohort data is not improving in science comparison to math and ELA, and that there is a strong need for a consistent research-based curriculum for K-5. So these are the things that we looked for when looking at the different things available. Something that aligned with the Nebraska standards, a resource that was good for diverse populations, that had a quality and good professional development, differentiation. We looked for something that was accessible and usable, friendly, user-friendly and efficient, had print and online resources, and most importantly had rich content, which was very hard to find at this time. So these are the two programs that, or resources that we looked at, PhD Science and Discovery Science.
And kind of through all this, what we've kind of discovered is that PhD Science is definitely the stronger of those programs. We like this. It's definitely aligned to all of the standards. I don't know if people know, but years ago the new standards were adopted across the state, and there just weren't great resources out there that supported these new standards. Some would say, yep, we're newly aligned to all the new standards, but really it was like they added an investigation here and there and called it good. So we've found through, looking over different programs over the years that it's hard to find a good resource, but we find that this one was pretty strong. There's a lot of opportunity for not only like authentic hands-on investigation in science, but a lot of minds-on thinking. The days of kind of sit and get science are done, it's more of like teaching kids how to engage in actual science practices. And this program we found did that very well. There's a collaboration that's involved a lot, which was a positive, I think, for kids working in groups. It's just very important for life in science and in the classroom and beyond. The content was very rich and rigorous. We had a lot of anchoring phenomena and spiraling phenomena that is kind of new buzzwords in science since then, but it was integrated throughout across the grade levels throughout each unit. And then the 3D model of science that the newer standards have, it was aligned to all that really nicely as well. And then plus there were easy differentiation provided throughout for our EL, our SPED, our HAL kids. So like a lot of the heavy lifting that we do is kind of done there for us. We also piloted a program called Discovery Science. It was just lacking in a lot of the areas. We are not recommended. It was aligned to our standards, but it was very hard to navigate as a teacher. You were having to pull from a lot of different areas. It was all online, and we just didn't feel like the content was up to par with PhD Science.
Okay, so in conclusion, K-5 recommends PhD Science for those reasons, that it does align with the Nebraska state standards and the science and engineering practices, along with the cross-cutting. It's a good resource for diverse population, has ample resources, differentiation, user-friendly, efficient, and it's very rich in content, and the kids really collaborate a lot and learn a lot about sciences and how to make claims with evidence, and just a really good resource.
Do you have any questions for us?
I have questions. I don't know if it's directed toward you, but I have questions about the cost. I was a little overwhelmed with cost. And so I'd like to know more about that. I want to know, was there any kind of, what's the word I'm looking, negotiation on the cost? Because not only was the cost huge, then there was the professional development, which was huge as well. So I just need to know more about that.
Yep, so I will address that. They probably don't even know what it costs unless they looked at the agenda. Yeah. So, no, I would say the numbers that you see there are not to exceed. So we've done no negotiations yet. Those quotes are, within the last 72 hours. I will tell you, science is always one of the most expensive adoptions a district will do, simply because of everything that's involved, right? Any kits, any materials, all of that initially comes. So I have the same questions that you do around the professional development. I think there's probably some wiggle room there. I don't want to say that, because they might tell me no. But Greater Minds is a really good partner of ours. That's also Eureka Math, and so we have a relationship with them. So we'll see what we can do on that price.
Yeah, I was just a little shocked
Sure.
to see that. And when I looked at that, how many years of adoption is this?
That one was 7.
It's a 7-year?
Yep.
And so the other thing I remember is being, when I was in elementary school and I was doing the consumable, I noticed that the consumable stuff was fairly large pricing as well. And I remembered when we were doing it, they tended to charge you exorbitantly for some stuff that you could buy at a Walmart or something, so
Yep. So I think now
I don't know.
I don't have a definitive answer for you, but here's my speculation on that. So the first time you buy it, I would recommend that we buy everything from them. So that way we know exactly
Like year one.
for year one, just year one. After that, when when you see you need a package of cotton balls and they want $4 and we know we can go to Walmart and get it for 99 cents, then we do that. But in year one, just so we make sure we have everything that they recommend and everything to fill out what each classroom needs, that would be my recommendation. But then absolutely on the lab consumables, we can take care of that locally, and you're right, at a much reduced rate. The other thing with that cost, it's a one-time cost, so the consumable books and all of that just come every year then from them.
So there was okay. But like with the kits, is that as part of it? Because I was trying to remember when I looked at it. Because there's two prices. There's a price that looks like, I'm looking at kindergarten, for example, hands-on complete bundle, and then it goes on complete refill bundle. So is that refill bundle the one that would be the yearly price from then on? Or how does this all work?
So my understanding of that would be, and Sam, if I goof this up, so my understanding is, so the PhD Science Level K hands-on complete bundle, that's everything you need the first time, right? That's all the teacher resources, all that. For modules 1 through 4, the refill bundles are exactly that. And so there's 7 of them for 7 years, so that might be the whole thing, actually, now that I look at that. Because they're saying you need 42 of them. So that'd be 7 of them, right? For the next 6 years. Yep. So that's something that we can either wheel and deal on, or go in and actually look and see what it is and say, you know what, we can get all of this at Walmart. We don't want any of that. So I would propose this right now as a not to exceed price, and we'll go to work on that.
And I happened to just look at the 6-8, but you said we're not doing that tonight?
No.
But I just noticed that when you think about K-5 was covered 6 grades, and 6-8 covered 3 grades, and it wasn't
Significantly cheaper?
Yes.
Mhm.
So that's why I was like, that
Yep.
was another whoop.
Yep.
Oh, my. So,
We'll go to work on those for you. Great questions.
So just for the board's knowledge, and price isn't the most isn't the biggest driving factor. If this is what's recommended and what we need, that's fine, but are the other, like, is this an outlier in terms of price, or are they all fairly comparable?
They would, at the elementary level, they would all be fairly comparable. We did not quote out Discovery Ed, though. After the team came back and said that's not a good resource, I didn't quote it out, but in my previous experience, science, it's not an outlier.
And was this a pretty unanimous feeling on the way to go? And how long's it been since we've had science?
We started this process like 6 years ago.
I was going to say, I don't think I've been part of one.
No,
When I
we,
was in the classroom, we were still using the former one, and it had been like 8 years probably, so.
I've been here 15 years and we haven't, I was using what they used, it was we haven't done it since I've been here.
Okay.
Yeah, the publishing date of the current middle school resource is 2012. When that process went through. And they would have done it
We were
around
in the same boat.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll fix all of that so that isn't the norm going forward.
right.
And I'm not questioning the teachers at all, I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
Those are fair questions.
gosh, can we look at the money
Yep.
a little bit? And I also was on their website, and they do open source things. I was wondering about that too. I didn't know if that could affect any of the pricing.
For K2 that you can download some of the materials and things like that. For K2.
Any other questions on that, board? Thank you for the presentation. Appreciate you coming to share that with us. Next up is item 8E, which is the intermediate and middle school camera project.
This one's me, and this is just a continuation of the camera project that we started probably this time last year with the high school and the elementary school. So this is going to wrap up and get the intermediate and the middle school onto the same camera level, software versions, licensing that the rest of the district has now. So in object of cost, we're sharing a server between the two buildings. It'll probably live, I don't know where it's going to live physically, but it's going to. So right now, we're sharing a camera server between this building and the elementary school. The high school, because we have so many cameras, has its own, but the middle school and intermediate school we can share and save us a significant chunk of money by sharing the camera, or sharing the server. And on there, I think we're adding one camera in the middle school to facility requests to watch one of the water fountains that is continuously being broken by kids. So hopefully we can figure out who's doing it. Other than that, it's just a one-to-one replacement of the existing cameras.
And this is all reimbursable, right, Dr. McDowell?
Yes, the camera projects are. Also, all of those instructional resources are. So when we talk about I'm not saying that doesn't mean we don't do our homework, but we do have, where's Megan at? We do have a fair amount of ESSER $2 left that we can use for this camera project that we can use for. It won't cover the camera project and all of science, I'll tell you that right now, but it would cover all of science or the cameras and some other things as well. So there is some reimbursable money still out there in ESSER 2. And then depending on some other projects and what they come back on, we can always go back and look at ESSER 3 and see if we want to repurpose any of those dollars as well.
And there was another grant that I got forwarded by ESU 6, was it yesterday or Friday or something, Thursday or Friday last week, that could potentially cover some of this. I haven't dug into it, like I just got information on it, so I haven't dug into what what the application process on that would look like.
And that is part of the COPS, and it's part of a new federal package that just came out that's all about school security. So if we can, I mean, if we're eligible, we will certainly apply, because it would, I mean, it specifically lists cameras in there. So we'll go after some additional dollars too.
In one of our meetings, it was brought up, like, it was cameras, door access, and some of the things we've already done, but this project we still have yet to do, so.
Any idea how old our cameras and systems are in those two buildings now? I mean, again, they've got to be
They're
pretty old,
pushing 7, I think the servers are 2012 servers, which it sounds old, but it could have been loaded in 2015 too. So I know they were old when I got here 3 years ago. I don't have an exact date on when they were last updated, but I know they're at least 7 years old, and I'm hoping to get, once we get on the same level, I would say we probably should get 10-ish years out of everything. Maybe we'll get even more than that. Just keep the server operating system updated, but with the way everything's going, maybe we should ask the city for refunds. They're always looking at our footage. But no, I would say we should be able to get a 10-year, another 7 to 10 year span out of our current, out of the ones here, and then the upgraded once we get everything done.
I think one of the important things too, and Ross, correct me if I'm wrong, is to get it all on the same, like we have mismatched cameras throughout. That makes it hard for service, that makes it hard for licensing, updating. In places like this building where the upgrades have been done, there's some pretty cool things they can do with tech that saves the principals a ton of time when they're looking for something specific that these other buildings just can't do. So it would just level the playing field. The other thing I'd say Ross has done a great job of is, and I'd put cameras, all tech on that, is that 5-year refresh plan, right? Like we know now and have a budget for every staff member gets a new laptop every 5th year, every kid gets a new Chromebook every 4th year, servers need to be every 8 year, you know, like we have that now. These are just some of those last pieces that we've got to get there. Going to do a big switch upgrade project, but that's being funded through E-rate, which is a tax that you pay on your cell phone bill. So, you know, we're trying to take advantage of everything that we can to get it there and then get it on the appropriate refresh cycle.
Any other questions on this board? Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate you coming again. This brings us to item 8F. Dr. McDowell will present the negotiated agreement reached between the Crete Education Association and the Crete Public Schools Board of Education. The agreement includes a total package compensation increase of 5.17%, updated unpaid leave language, and the agreement to reconvene the extra standard committee and start a leave committee. Dr. McDowell.
That's the report right there. So President Kuntz, Mr. Mock, and Mr. Lorenz sat on the negotiations team for the Board of Education. CEA has about 6 members, and I will tell you, it's been a great process. It continues to get better and better each time. And we go back and forth, and one thing I'll say, the board wants to remain competitive, and so when we talk about that 5.17 total percent increase, I mean, that, yes, that includes the base salary, that includes insurance, but we have to look at that total package to make sure that we're competitive in the array of 13 different districts, and that keeps us at number 6, 5 or 6. And so it was important to do that, and the board is committed to always being in that top half and being competitive. So nothing changes with the insurance agreement. As this states, there was some updates to the unpaid leave language, which basically trying to allow more flexibility for staff by removing, there's some language, and Jenny, if I misspeak, let me know, that removes some of the language around you could go on a trip once every, if you're here, you could go once every 5 years, and then you could take unpaid leave during that time. But what we agreed to is you can take unpaid leave anytime. It still falls within all the parameters of the other leave. So if there's more than 9 people gone, you can't, those types of things. But it's truly unpaid. So the first day you're gone on unpaid leave, it's your daily rate. Any days beyond that, it's your daily rate plus your insurance daily rate. So It has to be something that the staff member is committed to and sees great value in, because it's not an inexpensive thing for that staff member to do. So feel really good about that. The reconvene the extra standard committee, we already have one, but we want to come back together for two reasons. One, we always want to make sure that our extra standard is competitive and that we have coaches and sponsors on the right categories for the time that they put in. And two, we want to formalize, we think we have a pretty good plan, but we want to formalize. So how do I go from wanting to start a club that might start in CCLC to move to a standalone in the extra standard agreement as a club? And so we just need to iron that out so that there's a very clear process for any staff member that wants to start a club or an activity for kids, and how do they do that? How are they compensated? All of that. So that's that. And then the leave committee, we want to bring that committee together. It's not formed yet, but it would be some admin representatives, some CEA representatives, and we want to look at what other districts are doing for teacher leave, for certified leave. So before we make any other adjustments, that way we agreed to that. So
do you want to touch on, just briefly, part of the extra standard and the leadership opportunities you're creating within there?
Absolutely. So those positions are all posted too. And so based on the survey, the CPS improvement loop, and then based on my interactions with the Teacher Leader Coalition, we're trying to develop leadership opportunities to grow our own and to make sure that our staff can continue to grow and develop their skills right here. And so part of the staffing plan that you approved is the addition of, so for example, the Academy of Freshman Exploration team leader. So team leaders are on there. We added a curriculum specialist for each curriculum area. So for ELA, for math, science, social studies, and ELL. And so those are positions that all can fall there. And those are posted and advertised. Those are stipend positions right now. So if you want to be the ELL specialist for the district and work alongside the admin team and help shape what EL instruction looks like, that's a $3,000 stipend position. So same with math, science. Those are all posted right now, available for any of our staff, certified staff to apply for right now.
And I would just add to, this is Greg, and this is probably our 6th or 7th time going through negotiations. We're definitely seeing a trend where districts are putting more and more money towards the base salary. So the raise in the base salary that you'll see this year was consistent among all 13 schools in our array. Some of them were not quite as high as us. Some of them were higher. Some of them took a jump of $1,000 to try and catch up and be more competitive. So again, as we work our way through that, we've represented to the CEA that we want to stay competitive. Our goal is not to try and get by with the lowest salary and benefits that we can. We want to offer competitive wages. So that's why you'll see a little bit larger increase this year. That's just kind of across the region. The other thing I would point out too is we do try and negotiate and talk about different deductibles. Obviously, with the cost of health insurance just keeps skyrocketing. Dr. McDowell and Greg and I have talked in our meetings that, it's foreseeable that you could have health insurance that exceeds the starting wage for a new teacher at some point in the not so distant future. So we're always looking at ways that to be more competitive, whether that's offering a higher deductible, and that would allow us to put a lot more money on the base. So just so you know, we're always looking at different ways that we can make Crete a great place to work. So any questions on the negotiated agreement? All right, that will bring us to item 8G, which is the superintendent's report. Dr. McDowell.
All right, thank you. Just a couple items for you tonight. First of all, just publicly want to say thank you to our community. I think about, we've talked a lot about the Cardinal experience, and I think academics, athletics, and activities make up that experience for our kids. This last week was certainly an awesome athletic experience that truly brought our community together. And I have photos, I wish I would have pulled them up there, where I went across Pinnacle Bank Arena and took pictures of our side. It was absolutely remarkable how many community members came out to support our boys. Also say the Booster Club, thanks to them, and I'm going to probably inappropriately call them the basketball moms. They took over and just did amazing things for our boys. So just thanks to everybody. Again, it's impressive to see how a community can come together for that, and I just think it's so important that we continue to remember that it's all three of those things, academics, athletics, and activities, that make up the total Cardinal experience for our kids. It was also, I mean, I just got to say, it was special for me as your superintendent to see that and see everybody come together, but also as a dad. It was just an awesome experience. It was mentioned in one of the reports, one of the first 8th grade transition nights is coming up tomorrow at 6 o'clock. We're excited about that. It will be the first time that our parents get the full-blown overview of the academies and the academy experience, because it will be our next year's freshmen who get that full experience from the freshmen and then into one of the other 2 upper academies. So everybody will be there. It's also an athletic and activities fair. So if I'm a student who's interested in something, that sponsor, that coach will be there. I can sign up, I can get involved this summer, which will be great. Counselors will be there. One of the things that we get feedback from parents on is course selection. So when we talk about, geez, who helped my kid select their courses? Well, you can take care of that tomorrow night. Counselors will be there to walk you through that if parents have questions about that. And then most importantly, we're going to feed everybody. So we hope that's a draw. So if you want to come out and get a hot dog, some chips, and water, come on out. So, but we're excited about that day. It's kind of a big launch. You know, we've been talking about academies for 3 years. It's been brought up in multiple stakeholder groups to multiple community partners. But tomorrow night for the parents who get to experience it firsthand. So again, excited. Next, it's a busy spring. Events kick off Thursday, and I hate to mention because I'm always afraid I'm going to leave something out, but when I looked at the calendar, I think baseball and soccer start this Thursday. We have the high school musical Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's multiple track events Friday and Saturday as well, so we are off and rolling with spring activities, although it doesn't feel like it, and we'll have to watch what Thursday brings for activities in terms of weather. Lastly, legislative session still for a busy spring. Legislative session is still in full swing. This should be the last week of committee hearings, and then we'll get to floor debates, and we'll know what bills have been marked as priority, and we can start to narrow our focus a little bit, which I'm excited for because with over 800 bills introduced, like I can show you a list of 30 that I was monitoring right here. So it'll be nice to get that cleaned up a little bit. The last thing that I do have for you is the practice field project is well underway. I know there's been multiple requests from the board. We finally got it confirmed that we'll get an article in the Crete News for what's happening with that and the why. But then wanted to show you on the homepage of the website too is just a simple, coming fall of 2023. So that's what it will be. It's 2.5 practice fields. You can't see the fence around it and the retaining wall and all that stuff, but should give the community a good idea of what that project will look like. I say fall of 2023, it is on schedule, so as soon as they finish moving, it's a ton of dirt that they're moving, but get sprinklers in, a couple irrigation things, and then get sod down. Won't be able to use it this summer, but thinking by August, September, it should be ready to go. So that'll be out there, and again, then we'll get a story in the Crete News as well, hopefully for next Wednesday. And with that, I will conclude my report and gladly answer any questions.
Thank you, Dr. McDowell. We will move on to our action items. First up is 9A, the 2023-2024 district calendar. We were previously presented this with Mr. Stecker. And then, as Dr. McDowell mentioned, And in our committee notes, there were some updates that were made. So Dr. McDowell, anything new on the calendar?
Yeah, so it was mentioned in the report, but just so you can see it up there, so adding a day to that winter break, so the last day for kids would be Thursday, December 21st. There would be winter break starts for staff on Friday, the 22nd. It doesn't change the return date or anything like that, but it did push, got to come up with a day somewhere for minutes, and so it pushed the last teacher day to Friday, May 17th. But other than that, that was the only change to the calendar since presented last month.
And just for clarification, that Thursday before the break will be a full day.
It will be a full day. We decided to keep it a full day for minute count. That still allows us the one free day for teachers and then three full free days for kids. And so we felt that was still necessary.
Any questions on that, board? Let me move here. With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the 2023-2024 district calendar as proposed with that update.
Second.
Motion by Julie and a second by Greg Holman. Any further discussion or questions on the calendar? Hearing none, roll call.
Holman?
Yes.
Kozaczek? Kuntz?
Yes.
Mock? Peening?
Motion carries, calendar is approved. Next up is item 9B. We just had a presentation on the agreement reached between the Crete Education Association and the Crete Public Schools Board of Education on the 2023-2024 negotiated agreement. I would entertain a motion to approve that negotiated agreement as presented.
I move to approve the negotiated agreement.
A motion by Greg Holman. Is there a second? Second by Julie. Any further question or discussions on this? Hearing none, roll call.
Holman?
Yes.
Kozaczek? Kuntz?
Yes.
Mock? Peening?
Negotiated agreement is approved, motion carries. Is there any need for an executive session tonight? Hearing none, we will move on to item 11. Is there any old business to be discussed?
No, sir.
With that, we'll move on to item 12. The next Board of Education meeting will be on Monday, April 17th at 6 p.m. Is that official?
That would be ideal. How about that?
I had 4 yeses.
You had 4 yeses. Okay, perfect. So yes, that's official.
Okay, the next Board of Education meeting will be on Monday, April 17th, which is moved back a week at 6 p.m. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Motion by Greg Holman, second by Scott. Roll call.
Holman?
Yes.
Kozaczek? Kuntz?
Yes.
Mock? Peening?
With that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Have a good night.